Hey y'all, it's Lindsay, and I just wanted to do a quick sit-down video with you. I hope it's quick anyway. And sort of talk about the stress of the season, how I've allowed myself to backslide some, and what I'm doing about it going forward. I have been on the keto train for the past several years. There was a little blip in the middle where we were pregnant, or at least I was pregnant and nursing, so I went back to a trim healthy mama lifestyle. If you have been a part of my channel for any length of time, that is where we were a few years back. And I immediately jumped back onto keto once I stopped breastfeeding our third. As that season has rolled through, as the time has passed by, I have ebbed and flowed with how well or poor I have done by eating the foods that are keto friendly. And keto is a metabolic state, it's not a diet. So eating in a way that is metabolically keto friendly. There we go. So anyway, the highs and the lows, I have hit my pre-pregnancy weight eating trim healthy mama and low carb, maintaining that. But over the past couple of years, I have allowed stress and just the circumstances of life to allow a little bit of scale creep and allowed a little bit of extra weight to be packed back on. And I'm not okay with that anymore. I have allowed this season to really fuel my victim mentality, and I am tired of being the victim. I am ready to take the reins and refocus what I have been doing. So I want to tell you about my game plan. I sat down with myself and I wrote out all of the things that were super helpful and the way my brain was focused on this healthy way of eating back in 2016 when I first started Trim Healthy Mama and then jumped over to keto. So, oh no, where'd it go? So I had to go back to what was I thinking? What was I doing? How did our life look different back in 2016 compared to now? So back in 2016, we had just taken a big move from Alaska to Wisconsin. We had taken a bit of a pay cut, so we were a little bit more budget conscientious, and we only had 2 children, one of whom was a toddler and the other who was going to be starting kindergarten. I had a lot more freedom to really dig deep into what is Trim Healthy Mama, what is keto, and live that lifestyle out. I was able to focus a lot of time on finding recipes that worked, that were budget friendly, that really helped to make us feel good and healthy. I maxed out at losing 21 pounds by the summer of 2016. Jared, my husband, he lost 25, 30 pounds, somewhere in that range. It's hard to remember. And it was fantastic. We both felt great. We looked healthier. We had more energy. We were doing really well. We became pregnant in 2017 with our third, and I sort of went downhill from there. I did Trim Healthy Mama after I delivered our third, and did that all the way through the end of our nursing relationship. And I jumped right back into keto, and I have been on that bandwagon ever since. And I feel like I am a veteran at doing keto or living a ketogenic lifestyle, I should say. However, with anything, the longer you do it and the more overly familiar you are with it, the more complacent you can potentially get. I have become very complacent, and the poundage has crept back on my body, I have allowed myself to gain some weight, which is really frustrating for me. I know that I am in my hormones are shifting. I'm in my mid-30s. I'm definitely not like hitting premenopause or any of that mess yet, but I do know my hormones are shifting as the time goes by. I have got to sort of kick my own self in the pants and stop playing around with this if I want to maintain good health as my body shifts and ages. The current season has been very stressful for many of us, and if you have not felt stressed about this, please tell us your ways, because I have felt the stress of just the world not being the way it once was. And I have allowed myself to feel like a victim to the circumstances, and I've allowed that victim mentality to sort of eke into my health and my wellness. So we eat all keto-friendly foods. all low carb, sugar free, everything. But we have allowed a lot of extra treats, a lot of extra just like snackiness to happen in our lives, and I'm all done. I decided to go ahead and make myself a little game plan. I had some honest talk with myself about 2016, what was really working for you, Lindsay? And here are a few things that I came up with. In 2016, I was doing a lot of simple meals, nothing complicated. There weren't a ton of special ingredients. I think the most specialized ingredient I got was some erythritol and stevia so that I could still have sweetened coffee. Other than that, I might have picked up a bag of almond meal or almond flour. Probably, I don't know, 6 weeks into eating the keto way of life, I had really refocused onto what was budget friendly and what was simple. Trying to get into like all of the complicated recipes and things like that was just not where my brain was. If I was going to be successful, I was going to do it simply. And I've allowed it to become a lot more complicated than it once was. So going back to simple meals, like I would do in the very beginning. Another thing that was super helpful for me was eating tons and tons of hot salads. So sauteing up my kale and using just whatever meat we had on hand to make a hot kale and meat salad, like kale and bacon salad, or I would do that with spring mix. I know that sounds a little bit weird and most people would kind of like retch at the idea of sauteed spring mix, but for me it was great. Whew. Had to go help with some concrete, so I might have a little bit of a mess. Another thing that was super delicious and good that I really loved were glooky puddings from the Trim Healthy Mama cookbook. Being able to have those on hand was fabulous. And I really like glucomannan. I really like the things that it can do in cooking and things like that. I think glucomannan might have been like the third or fourth thing that I purchased as a special ingredient. It was about 20 bucks on Amazon, the one that I found, and it lasted like 6 months. So it was super budget friendly for us, and it really afforded us a lot of extra things to be able to do in the kitchen with the keto recipes and things like that without getting too complicated. In the evenings, I would often do either one of those glooky puddings or I would do a mug cake, and I tried out dozens of mug cakes. And whenever I created my muffin in a mug master mix recipe, I felt like I found something that worked beautifully for me. And it was great. I kind of ebb and flow with things, and I kind of ebbed away from that. So I probably should reconsider making like family-sized desserts and get back into the habit of just doing the little single-serve desserts every now and then. And I also didn't do it every single night. Some nights would not have anything to eat, just maybe a cup of hot tea. I've talked about that plenty of times here on this channel. So getting back into just doing a hot tea at night or doing a muffin in a mug or a mug cake or something to that effect is something I should really consider being my first desire rather than like a begrudging like, oh, I guess I'll do it this way. So really retraining my brain on that piece. Okay, in the beginning of Trim Healthy Mama / keto, I drank a lot of sippers. So I started off trying out like the Singing Canary. That was actually my gateway drink into the Trim Healthy Mama world. I would make Good Girl Moonshine. I would do it with all the different herbal teas and things of that nature. I would drink my Keto Aid all the time. So I was getting a lot better hydration. Another thing was intentional meals. I used to spend a lot more time preparing, sitting down, and consuming that meal. And I know tons of people talk about that all the time. It's a habit that I have allowed to fall by the wayside, and I need to bring that back in my game plan here. Sticking to the basics and sort of simplifying how I am doing my food, trying to reduce the budget, not out of necessity, but as far as like the monetary side of it is concerned so much, but more out of the using those lesser expensive ingredients, like just doing the simple basic stuff of eggs and green leafy vegetables or simple meat, simple veggie, nothing else. Like just really distilling it down to the basics without getting all fancy with having like all of the baking blend treats or all of these complicated recipes that require so many extra ingredients. I think that will really help me to get back into a better pattern for choosing to do the best for myself. What else? Okay, this piece is a little bit painful for me because I really love doing this. I wasn't doing much recipe development back when I first started doing Trim Healthy Mama Keto. I did not try to ketoify every recipe that I came across. I did not try to ketoify old favorites as much. And then as I had started doing YouTube, I really enjoyed creating recipes and doing more interesting things, which was great. And it's fun for me. I enjoy doing a little bit of development in my kitchen. Like, I find that to be a fun hobby, but it has not done me well as far as my weight and my health is concerned. Those treats are good. They are fun. They are delicious. The recipes for more complicated foods or replacing standard American diet things like General Tso's chicken with my keto version of that, that's all great. But doing that time and time again to get a recipe to the place where I'm like, oh yeah, this is totally shareable, it just causes me to eat a lot more than I probably need to. So less recipe development coming in the future. Just for my own sake rather than, like it's fine. I will set that hobby down because it's not the right season for that. And when it is the right season, I will pick it back up again. Really, I think that's as much as my brain can really handle for now for this game plan this fall season. I would like to see my health improve over the next 3 months before Christmas and do right by my body, really get back into that mentality of this is what I do. Not just like this is what I can do, but this is what I actually do. So that's what I have for you today. I would love to know in the comments if there is some kind of a game plan that you are going to put into place for yourself, for your health, your wellness, your well-being, general overall life, to really live out this next season well, because there are a lot of great stressors coming our way. So having a solid game plan that is simple enough to execute but effective enough to keep you going is a solid strategy, I think. So let me know in the comments if you would like to subscribe. I would love to have you join me here on my channel, and I will see you in the next video.